Because if you're fighting us in a culture war, you're not going to be fighting the elite. You're going to be too distracted to fight them since you're fighting us. They want you to think that immigrants are the reason why you're not making more money at your job, so you don't notice that the CEO of your company, who just gave himself a raise, by the way, hasn't given you a raise in years, even though you're probably doing more work now than you were doing when you first started, since they laid off people and never replaced them because the company wanted to make a few more bucks. And it's only a matter of time before they replace you with a robot, not an immigrant. Don't be afraid of an immigrant taking your job in 2024 when they're creating the AI right now to replace all of us. They want you to think that black and brown people and DEI have made you less safe when you fly in an airplane, so you don't realize that the safety issues stem from the CEOs of these companies like Boeing cutting corners to save a few bucks. A black pilot didn't make the doors of one of their planes blow off. A female train conductor didn't cause the train to derail in East Palestine. Greedy CEOs who bribe politicians to deregulate their companies are responsible for these things. They want you to think that climate change is a hoax and that the people who are concerned about it are alarmist communists that want you to live in hobbit homes and eat bugs or some shit. So that way, you're mad at them for that, as opposed to the CEOs of fossil fuel companies who are destroying the only habitable planet that we all have. They want you to spot the woke mind virus everywhere you look, in video games and movies and TV shows, because if they're priming you to see LGBTQ plus people and people of color as the enemy, you're not going to realize that elites are your true enemy. They've brainwashed you into thinking that people who are different from you, they're the real threat. They're the real enemy. And they've bought off all of our politicians. They've rigged our entire system against us, and they're richer than ever while Americans are poorer than ever. Most Americans can't afford a $500 emergency, whereas multimillionaires and billionaires are buying their fourth mansion and second yacht. And they're sharing photos of these lavish lifestyles on Instagram while your grandmother struggles to pay her mortgage on Social Security. They have no fucking shame. They have it all and they want more. And it's a zero-sum game. You have to pay for these lifestyles. They're paying less taxes and you have to pay more because they have the power. So fuck you. They got theirs and they want more. They want you to have nothing. And billionaires like Elon Musk, who bought himself a position in Trump's administration, wants to take away your Social Security even though you've paid into that your entire life. That's the immigrant you should want to deport, not some innocent abuelita who came here looking for a better life for her family. Elites lie to you about Medicare for all because these health insurance companies profit off of your pain and suffering. They pay politicians to lie to you about a single-payer healthcare system, and they say, oh, that's socialism. You should be afraid of it because our current for-profit system has made them rich. So they want you to believe that something better that all the other countries have adopted is actually worse for you. And if we had healthcare that was free at the point of service, the gravy train would be over for these CEOs. So politicians let us suffer and die so these companies can leech off of us some more. They're distracting you by pitting you against queer people and black and brown people, because if you're fighting them, you're going to be too busy to fight the people at the top who is actually fucking you over in a plethora of ways. But you have to understand that fellow working class people are not your enemies, regardless if they're gay or trans, black or brown, Muslim or atheist or an immigrant. They are not your enemies. They are not responsible for your economic anxiety. And even though you probably felt like the system was unfair, but you didn't know how to articulate how it was unfair, you probably noticed that the rich were doing pretty great. They were getting richer while you kept getting poor year after year after year. And people like Ben Shapiro tricked you into thinking all of those problems stemmed from immigrants or trans people. They tricked you into hating innocent people that are also getting fucked over by the same system that's fucking over you. CEOs are the ones that you should be hating. Billionaires, elites, oligarchs, they are the ones that are the cause of your pain and suffering. They are all of our common enemy. But people like Ben Shapiro turned us into each other's common enemy. He is paid to distract you while the rich robs you blind. It would love nothing more than to stop fighting you in a culture war and instead join forces with you to fight in a class war. But here's the thing. That means the people that are going to fight alongside you have to be on equal footing. A trans woman would love nothing more than to fight a class war with you, but she can't do that if she also has to focus on her humanity when it's under attack, or if she fears for her life every time she leaves her home. An immigrant can't fight a class war with you if you continue to see them as the enemy and call for their deportation, and if they have to be worried about deportation or feel like they're not welcome in this movement. A gay man can't just fight the culture war with you if he thinks that his marriage rights are under attack, because he's got to take time to protect those gains that he's made too. So if you're serious about fighting a class class war, you have to stop fighting the culture war first. And you have to stop viewing other people as the enemy entirely. Period. Full stop. It's already hard enough to fight a class war when your boss has you working longer hours for lower wages and you're already tired when you come home and you feel like shit. But if you also have to fight for your basic civil rights too, it diverts attention away from the class struggle that we all desperately want to be able to fight with you. So if you're serious about changing this country for the better once and for all and taking back the wealth CEOs stole from us, that necessitates you seeing the humanity in people that Ben Shapiro and his ilk have demonized. It requires you to accept that you not only have to welcome trans people into your movement wholeheartedly, but you have to fight alongside them for their rights as well, for their emancipation as well, because they're not going to fight for you if you're not going to fight for them. You can't have true class solidarity if you think that the people who are fighting alongside you should have less rights than you, and you can't expect them to join you in a political movement unless you unequivocally repudiate the divisive politics that separated you both in the first place. That is the first step. And I hate the term culture war because it minimizes something that affects people's lives in a profound way. We're talking about civil rights and basic human dignity, and you have to internalize the fact that none of us are free until all of us are free. Race, sex, class, it is all intertwined, and you have to see that. You can't expect marginalized people to postpone their own liberation and emancipation or put aside the fight for now for civil rights in order to fight this class war with you, because we have to do both things simultaneously. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. So if you're serious about changing this country for the better, and you should be, and you really want to take on the rich bastards that are keeping you down and making you poor and keeping you that way, you have to stop fighting marginalized people and start fighting for marginalized people. And then they will fight alongside you. That is how you cultivate class solidarity. It is going to take a lot of time for you to deprogram yourself, because trying to resist years of right-wing brainwashing will force you to reckon with a lot of beliefs that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to experience cognitive dissonance and even anxiety. But that internal struggle is so worthwhile, because it is the true path to liberation for us all.